Here at a wet Monza, we are ready for the second race of the weekend in the Blancpain GT Sports Club. Yesterday they had a dry circuit, if not the warmest of days at Monza, but for today we've had a lot of rain this morning, a lot of overnight rain, and the drivers are ready on the grid. It's a 30-minute race, and the race will start behind the safety car. So that means that we don't have a green flag lap, but a safety car start, looking down onto the grid based on the times that were set in Q2. Jens Müller is the man on pole position in the Honda, and 51 Mauro Cordoni lines up notionally alongside, but the cars set off. Now the clock actually had already started slightly oddly, but the cars set off now, and it will be Jens Müller who has the advantage. So the race is on, all of this counting within the 30 minutes. And so the cars now make the run towards the first chicane. So a safety car start for the Blancpain GT Sports Club. The entry 15 strong this weekend. We had an interesting race yesterday because although the race leader, race winner as he became, Jens Müller just ran away and hid, there was quite a lot of drama going on behind him and some good battles. So we look forward to more of the same when we go racing proper. Mauro Cordoni was second yesterday, Murad Sultanov was third. He prevailed in a battle with Coach McKenzie, and then it was Vadim Kogai in fifth, having fought his way into contention after a battle early on with Lee Mole. You can see Lee Mole's Mercedes there, the British driver, new to Sports Club, and there is Vadim Kogai returning to Monza, where he rather made a name for himself a few years ago with a spectacular debut in the Blancpain Endurance Series, but now coming to Sports Club. And actually, with the experience gained of a few years ago, he was pretty competitive yesterday and hunted down the third and fourth battle, and a margin that was over 5 seconds became next to nothing at all by the very end. So he had a good old go. Louis-Philippe Sernan's Ferrari there, and behind him is Delaunte Malagamua. We have, by the look of it, a couple of cars, I was going to say missing, they're just quite a long way back already. Whoops, Louis-Philippe Sernan discovers how sideways you can get a Ferrari and how wet and treacherous the track conditions are. There's Ken Abe, whose Ferrari got punted off at the very end of yesterday's race, and also Roberto Raineri, who is quite a long way back too. Now, is Raineri actually circulating? Because that's a car I haven't seen through the first sector. Roberto Raineri's Lamborghini, I think, might well be absent from the grid. So the cars turning their way towards the Variante Ascari. This the first lap of the race, the clock ticking on down, safety car start, so it's not, just to reiterate the point, a rolling stop. This is the race, and the officials will withdraw the safety car maybe after this lap, maybe one more, just to let the gentlemen drivers have a bit more experience of what the track state is like before we go racing proper. So Jens Müller, Mauro Cordoni, Pavel Strukov, Coach McKenzie, Lee Mole, Murad Sultanov is the top 6 in order from the grid. 7th, Vadim Kogai. 8th, Steve Earle. In 9th place, Gerard van der Horst. And 10th is Rick Lovett. 11th, Louis-Philippe Sernan. 12th is Ben Kleinbach. 13th is Delaunte Malagamua. 14th is Ken Abe. And the one that's missing would appear to be Roberto Raineri, who's forsaken his venerable Mercedes for a Lamborghini for this year, but he's not taking part in this. Possibly he feels the weather conditions are not hospitable enough for him to feel the relevant commitment to race the car. So Roberto Raineri sits this one out, and the rest of the field comes to the Parabolica. 3 laps behind the safety car, I'm being told, is the instruction from the race direction team. Alain Adam and Joe Doval run the Blancpain Sports Club, as well as the Blancpain GT Series races, and they have elected to give them 3 laps, but possibly at a quicker pace, each one a little bit faster, which has the effect of getting them closer to a race pace, so it's not a surprise when they go racing, but also it brings the tyres up to proper temperature and pressure for that proper start. So we've done a lap. Of course, the order is the same. Jens Müller made history yesterday with this car because the Renault Racing squad is new. It's the first time that the car has had a win anywhere, and certainly in Europe, rather. And it was just a very impressive drive yesterday. So the first win for the NSX Evo. And potentially more of the same today, because Mauro Cordoni, experienced a driver as he is, just had no chance to get up with him yesterday. The NSX GT3 Evo, a car that debuted at the Daytona 24 Hours. First time the car has raced in Europe, and Jens Müller's first race with the car, the team's first race with the car yesterday, so it all knitted together very, very nicely indeed. And Jens Müller leads the pack then, with Mauro Cordoni there running in second place. Mauro Cordoni, an experienced driver, but rather struggled yesterday to match anything like the pace of a Honda. He was in no man's land, in fact, because he was too far back, but it was a long, long way clear of anybody else. Ken Abe has pitted at the end of the first lap. Now, that Ferrari got some damage yesterday, the one in the pit lane I'm talking about, not the one on screen. So whether it's a problem with the car or whether it's that he's unhappy with the track conditions, I can't tell you, but Ken Abe is into the pit lane at the end of the first lap. 777 there is Pavel Strukov, who very nearly was struck off yesterday because he had a number of incidents, but when he was going very, very rapidly, but had one drama at the Lesmos, another one at the Parabolica, and then another one, I think I'm right in saying, with Abe right at the very end. So Strukov is running third. Ken Abe has just rejoined after his pit stop. And Jens Müller jinking around trying to get the warmth back into the tyres. He's from a touring car background, but has raced at Le Mans. He drove on a couple of occasions the Lister in 2004. He was part of this all-Danish team, John Nielsen and Kasper Elgaard, the other drivers. And Jens Müller then had another run with Lister in 06 at Le Mans. But has largely driven in touring cars, the European Touring Car Championship, Danish touring cars. Had a break from 2011, came back in 2017 and drove in the International TCR series, and now exploring GT cars this year. So Jens Müller, delighted with his win yesterday, understandably, leads the field as they come through the Parabolica. So for the drivers, it's a shame that they're not getting racing mileage in, but on safety grounds you can understand why, for the moment. That's Dylan for Malagamua, who has explored the exit of the Variante Ascari and has dropped a long way, as you can see, off the back of the pack. Malagamua was 9th yesterday. So there over the timing line goes Mauro Cordoni, Pavel Strukov behind. It's a very Ferrari-dominated grid. These gentlemen racers seem to gravitate towards Ferraris. It might be because quite a few of them have come out of the Ferrari Challenge, and therefore they're used to driving those sorts of cars. But the Honda is a welcome addition to the grid. Lee Mole's Mercedes is good to see. But we've had Porsches in the past, and the entry, as I said earlier on, 15 strong this weekend. There are a number of drivers that have been in the championship for a year and then gone off to explore something else. Some, like Karim Ogier, last year's champion, has already moved back up to the Blancpain GT series. So for some drivers, as you see a replay to Malagamua getting it wrong at the Variante Ascari, some drivers like this competition and stay in it. Others use it as a way of gaining experience and then seek a fresh challenge. But it'd be nice to have another intake of new drivers coming out of things like Super Trofeo or the Ferrari Challenge. Safety car's going to be in this lap, so that will take us into the middle third of the race when we go green and to get the race underway. Yesterday it was 17 laps that we had, pretty much drama-free, and let's see what this second race has in store. There's been a change of place, I noticed, between Lee Mole and Murad Sultanov, so it's interesting that that's happened under the safety car. Not quite sure why that happened. It may be that Sultanov had a moment, but either way. Safety car in this lap confirmed, and then the second race in the Blancpain GT Sports Club will get underway. The championship heads next to, hopefully, sunnier climes of Port Ricard at the end of May, first weekend of June. Then back to Italy, end of June at Misano. It goes to Spa, not for the 24 hours weekend, but for the British GT event the week before, part of the Speed Week, and then it finishes in Spain at the end of September. So the cars now come up through Variante Ascari, and the safety car will quicken its pace, head for the pit road, and then we will be in business then. Down they come, heading towards the parabolica, and now you see the drivers starting to weave around a lot more, ready for racing proper. So is Jens Moller now going to be able to blast away? Let us see. The expectation would be, yes, he will. We go green then, so effectively we've lost 10 minutes as they've been having these installation laps, but now race 2 for the Blancpain GT Sports Club is go. And it is Jens Moller that leads away in the spray. Second is Mario Cordoni. Third is Pavel Strukov as they come over the timing line. But Moller is in the pound seat here. He's got the visibility. But the flip side of the coin is he's going to be the pioneer. He will be the first one at race pace to come across the puddles. Everybody else can judge their speed, their pace, their commitment against his. But Moller, experienced enough, I think, to cope with all of that, goes now through the first chicane and he's onto the power. Dylan for Malagamur playing catch-up, getting himself past Louis-Philippe Cernan there on the start of the race. Right, Cordoni, second, he's got Strukov behind him, but already, look, the Honda has gone. There is Jens Moller, checked out, built the gap already, and so it's the Ferrari fight going on behind him. Hard on the brakes, they go up towards the Variante Roggia, then into the chicane. That's Coach McKenzie, who went pretty well yesterday, but then made a mistake late race and lost a place. The Ferrari fight building up nicely. Cordoni versus Strukov and Lee Mole going well. The Mercedes seeming to adapt nicely to these conditions because he has got, there is Lee Mole, he's got himself up past Coach McKenzie then. So Mole fourth, and the Mercedes looking a lot stronger in the wet than it did in the dry yesterday. He has a go on the inside of Strukov up towards the second of the Lesmo Benz. Mercedes now in the spray. Is there going to be an opportunity to find a way by as they come down towards the Variante Ascari? Cordoni hugs the middle of the road, really, preventing Strukov from committing either way. But Lee Mole is right there behind, and they concertina as they get to the braking zone. So Cordoni here is going to be given a tough time, isn't he? Right there on his tail, there is Strukov, then Mole, and he in turn is taking McKenzie with him. But all of that's enabling the race leader to get away. Down they come through the parabolica once more. So you've got Jens Moller in the lead of the race. 1.4 seconds was the advantage at the proper start. In other words, at the start of this lap, after the safety car laps. There is Lee Mole trying to get himself now, having got past Strukov onto the tail of Cordoni. So Lee Mole is up into third place, going great guns here. And so too there, look, also coming through is the Murad Sultanov Ferrari. That gains ground as well. So the one that's losing out rather in all of this is McKenzie, losing place after place, and so too, I fear, will Pavel Strukov. So Lee Mole now is 8 tenths back from Cordoni. You can see the Ferrari and the Mercedes going down towards turn 1 together. Jens Moller has done the best lap of the race at 2:16, and that's 5 seconds clear of Cordoni, who is struggling in these conditions, and Lee Mole is much, much quicker. So the British driver for second place, that's on. Lee, former Ginetta racer, British GT racer, for a time part owner of the 888 touring car team in the UK as well. There he goes, the white Mercedes then. It's all grunt and go, and in these conditions, that could well be the ideal, certainly against the Ferrari. Look at the way that Lee Mole is carving his way up through the order. Comes then now up towards the Variante Roggia once again. This is lap 5, 16.5 minutes to go. The Blancpain GT Sports Club that has always been about letting the AM racers have a comparable grid, and up the inside goes Lee Mole. Mario Cordoni doesn't really fight him for that. You can see the Mercedes is much, much quicker, and through he goes. The Ferrari perhaps on a far from ideal setup as well here, but Lee Mole's Mercedes getting stronger and stronger. But now he's got a really difficult task, because 7.5 seconds up the road, and possibly more now, is Jens Moller. That's going to be an awfully big ask of anybody to bring that down, especially given that the Honda was quicker than anything else out there yesterday. So Lee Mole, look, gets away from the traffic. He's away and gone already. But are we going to see that car be caught by the Mercedes? In the first sector, a 46.3 versus a 46.2. So yes, the gap is down by a little. Lee Mole doing a really good job here as he threads his way out of the Variante Ascari once more. Lap number 5, we are on. Moller with the fastest lap of the race leads the way, but in the spray, the gloom behind him is the long-nosed Mercedes. Lee Mole at the wheel of it. First time we've seen him in the Blancpain GT Sports Club, and hopefully he might stay on for a few more races now. He's had a taste running up near the front. Mario Cordoni is third. In fourth place behind is Pavel Strukov. In fifth place, it is Murad Sultanov. And Coach McKenzie's Lamborghini rather struggling here, but I get the feeling that Cordoni is not long for that third place. Off the Parabolica they come. Up towards the timing line once more. Ferraris at play. Cordoni, then you've got Strukov and Sultanov at the back, sitting in the spray, looking for visibility. Down they hammer towards turn one. The lead gap is coming down because Lee Mole has just done the fastest lap of the race, but hard on the brakes. Cordoni defending that third place. If he can't win the race, if he can't take second, at least he wants to be the best of the Ferraris. But that's going to be a tall order as well, given the pace evinced by Strukov and Sultanov behind him. They accelerate up towards the Curva Grande, out of which comes Lee Mole. There is the SRO Motorsport run Mercedes, and as I say, he's brought the gap down against the race leader. It was 5.5 seconds as against 7.5 seconds. So Lee Mole, fastest lap of the race, and 2 seconds quicker last time around. In the first sector, he is faster fractionally. So the gap's certainly coming down between the top two. Now what about fourth? And together they touch. Up the inside goes Sultanov, and Pavel Strukov makes life very difficult for him. That was a wide car, that was a discernible biff, and it means that the two Ferraris get back into the original formation. Then a sideways Strukov almost gets it wrong coming out of the Lesmos. The car twitching as he gets the power down. Here comes Murad Sultanov once again to see what he can do about going through. They're side by side. Heading towards the Variante Ascari then, so Strukov it is, looking to get past, Sultanov it is, looking to get past Strukov. The two Russian drivers together behind Mauro Cordoni. On the inside is still Strukov in the blue and black car. Sultanov has to stay behind him, and the gap between the leaders is down by 1.4 seconds on this lap alone thus far. Cordoni still third. Here's the replay. Now have a look. Sultanov gets up the inside. There's the width, but Strukov comes across. There is contact. The stewards may well have a look at that, but as yet there's nothing up on the timing screens as an alert. Third, fourth, fifth, it's the same order, but Cordoni goes a little bit deeper into the Parabolica where there may be more traction. Runs wider, but he knows his way around Monza very well indeed, does Mauro Cordoni. Is that going to give him the drive off the corner? The leaders go by, and Muller to Mole then is now 5.1 seconds, another best lap of the race by Lee Mole. But for third place, it's game on. Side by side on the inside line there is Pavel Strukov. Mauro Cordoni's going to have to cede the place because he's on the wrong line. He doesn't even have the grunt in a straight line. So past him goes Strukov, and now Sultanov gets up the inside for fourth place. Mauro Cordoni goes back to fifth. Whoops, Strukov is sideways, and around he goes. Pavel Strukov gets it wrong at turn one. So he's just worked hard to get third, and then he's facing the traffic. 12 minutes to go, and Pavel Strukov rotates at the first corner, but if Kogai gets past him, Steve Earle gets past him. So one up and a whole load down for Pavel Strukov. Gives Cordoni fourth place back. Now what about Lee Mole for the race lead? He's taken 6/10 out in sector one. It's going to be obvious, I think, for Lee Mole to get up with the race leader, as there, a sideways Sultanov brakes hard going up towards the Variante Roggia. 51 is Mauro Cordoni. And a driving standards flag for Pavel Strukov. Well, as it turns out, this is what happened to him. Too quick into the first corner, couldn't slow the car down, and around he goes. Lee Mole, though, is becoming the man to watch. So he is hunting down the race leader. The gap was 5.1 seconds last time around. He only took, in the end, 3/10 out in terms of the last lap time, but the gap down a little bit further. And in this first sector of the lap, he has gained 6/10. What about the middle sector? Because Jens Müller has just done an absolute best. He is responding. He's getting the hurry-up call now. So Lee Mole doing his level best, absolutely, but Jens Müller is now responding, and Murad Sultanov has just done the absolute best of anybody in the middle sector as he now tries to fight his way up the order as well. But there's the leader. Jens Müller comes down towards the Parabolica. Lee Mole in second spot behind him, the British driver who has raced here before. He's done the bulk of his racing in the UK, but Lee Mole also raced in the Le Mans Cup, so has been here in the Le Mans Cup GT category. Out of the Parabolica comes Murad Sultanov. Now that Castle Racing Ferrari, a very slippery shape, can that now that he's wriggled its way through the traffic do anything about the top two? The lead gap is 5.4 seconds. It's gone up, but Sultanov has just done the fastest lap of the race at 2:11, and that is 2 seconds quicker than the two ahead of him. Down towards the first corner, you can see the way that Murad Sultanov now is absolutely gobbling up the road against Lee Mole. So suddenly there's a different car as we get into the final third of the race to keep an eye to, and it is this one. 23, Murad Sultanov now looking very strong indeed. Through they turn. Make the run up towards the Curva Grande through that fast right-hander now. Through the Rogier chicane, Sultanov, absolute best in sector one. He's done the fastest lap of the race, and he's getting closer and closer and closer to Lee Mole. So Lee now, rather than being able to close on the leader, is having to defend, and how long that defence lasts for might well affect whether Sultanov gets up to Jens Muller at all before the end of the race, assuming he can get past the Mercedes, that is. Nine minutes are on the clock. Second and third blast down towards the Variante Ascari once more. And there's the race leader. Now Jens Muller lost a little bit of ground, sped up once more, built the margin. It's up to over 5 seconds again, and Sultanov has done another absolute best within the middle sector. So the Ferrari looking as though it will be able to have a go at Lee Mole. In real terms, 7.8 seconds covers first to third. But can Sultanov do anything about getting past the Mercedes swiftly so he doesn't lose too much time against the race leader? Muller has still got this clear road ahead of him, but Sultanov, who's had to fight his way up from 6th on the grid, now running in third place, comes down towards the Parabolica, and he has got the Mercedes just up the road ahead of him. In a straight line, is it going to be the grunt and go of the Mercedes or the aero shape of the Ferrari? Through they come, up towards the line now. Past the pits they run. The lead gap is 4.7 seconds, but first to third is 5 as a 2 minutes 10 is put in by Murad Sultanov. He's got the pace to go after the leader if he can find a way past Mole's Mercedes that comes then now into the turn 1 chicane. Turn right, turn left and get back on the power. Through the spray, out of the Curva Grande they go. Hard on the brakes, it's the Variante Rogier. Now this time around, Sultanov, because he's a bit stuck behind the Mercedes, he's losing a bit of time. Lee Mole, too deep into the first part of the chicane, compromises the run coming out, but he's quickly across to defend the line. Sultanov has a look up the inside line, not really able to commit there, but that was an opportunity. Now, while he's stuck, the gap's going to open up. He knows this. He's got to get on with the job. They're not that far behind the race leader, up towards Lesmo 2. A look to the inside. Sultanov can't get past Mole. Can he do it on the run to the Ascari chicane now? Jens Muller still leading the way. His last lap was a 2:13. Sultanov's was a 2:10. So clearly the Ferrari is the quickest car out there. But now the cork in the bottle, as far as he is concerned, is the white Mercedes. There is Jens Muller. Mole defends, as he's perfectly entitled to do. Sultanov comes towards the Variante Ascari, and he can't yet, despite his pace, find a way by. Of course, remember, to overtake, you've got to go offline. It's more slippery there, so what he wants is for Lee Mole to make a mistake, open the door, and then he can nip through. Down they come then towards the Parabolica. This is lap number 9. And again, no real opportunity there for the Ferrari to make a move as they come into the right-hander. Lee Mole goes out of the Parabolica up towards the timing line. This is the end of lap number 9. And it's game on still for second and third places. Mole versus Sultanov. 5 seconds the margin last time, first to third. Let's see what it is this time, because that will tell us whether Sultanov is losing touch. No, he's still brought the gap down, 4.7 seconds. So as they go through, he's still lapping quicker, and he's got to get on with it. He looks to the inside line. Can he force the mistake out of Lee Mole as they come down towards the first chicane? Lee Mole hanging on resolutely to second place. The Honda accelerates out of the chicane ahead of the two cars you're looking at, second and third. But for as long as he's stuck there behind Lee Mole, so Murad Sultanov is having to give up the chance of a race win. He knows all of this, and he's desperate to get past, but he's not risking anything. out of the Curva Grande. That's where the Mercedes seems to have the edge. It's able to use that grunt all the way around that long, fast right-hander up towards the Rogier chicane now. Sultanov moves across, has a look to the inside line. Get the feeling as well, the rain is increasing here at Monza. And a spin in replay from Mario Cordoni, that was, who was, remember, double race winner here last year. Round he goes. Back on track with 5 minutes to go. There is Murad Sultanov, and he's still stuck behind Lee Molo, a little bit wide maybe. Lee coming out of the second Lesmo curve there. Sultanov right up behind him in the spray. Where does the move come? He's got to get out of the spray, ready to see where the corner is. Lee Mole is defending for all he is worth. Sultanov looks at the inside line. Can he get up alongside the Mercedes? Oh, so close, but not worth the risk. So Sultanov slots back in behind. Lee Mole fends him off again. Great little battle between these two. Sultanov had just done another absolute best in the middle sector. They're getting closer to Jens Müller, but at this rate, they're going to hold each other up so much they're going to run out of time. Down they come now once more, in towards the Parabolica. Müller, Mole, Sultanov, that's the top three. Through they turn, and there a big twitch from the Ferrari. Murad Sultanov accelerates away now, up towards the timing line. He's got the visibility problem, he's got the grip level problem, and he's also got the fact that the clock is ticking on down, less than 4 minutes to go. Down towards the first chicane, 4.5 seconds the margin, so only a little bit pulled back by Sultanov that time because there's nothing else he can do. For as long as he's stuck behind Lee Mole, he's got to go at his pace. Out of the first chicane, once more they come. 3.5 minutes, and Lee Mole, in a sense, could be Jens Müller's salvation in all of this. He's doing everything right, he's hanging on to that second place. They're going to get this lap and one more, looking at the clock, so 2 more laps. Sultanov can't do it on this basis, I don't think, unless he can really force the issue against Mole here. But this battle is allowing Jens Müller to preserve the lead. Again, Sultanov is good coming out of the Variante Rogier, but not good enough to spring up alongside Lee Mole. And Lee is soaking up the pressure and hanging on to that place, not putting a wheel wrong here. His opportunity to catch has also gone because he's having to defend like this. To the inside line again, looks Sultanov. Does he go through? No, he can't do it there either. Big frustration in all of this for the Russian driver, but Lee Mole is offering a very good example of how you defend. He's not doing anything dirty, nothing aggressive, nothing that might raise the attention of the officials. He's just keeping the car where it needs to be, but not for much longer. Through on the inside, finally goes Sultanov. That time he lined it up early, he commits, and so Lee Mole has to give way eventually. And all of this means that Sultanov has got a lap and a corner in which to challenge. So it is game on now. Is he going to be able to get there in time? I think the answer is no, in fairness, because 4.5 seconds was the margin, and really only a lap to go. That's a lot of ground to make up, but let's see what he can do as they come into the Parabolica. Murad Sultanov now is released. There is Lee Mole. He's going to be good for the podium, seemingly, as he comes up towards the completion of lap number 11. The leaders go by. 4.5 seconds was the margin when it was first to third. Now it is first to second, and the gap is 3.9, with Murad Sultanov having just done the fastest lap of the race at 2 minutes 9.8. Now he's got a clear road ahead of him, and it's the last lap as they go down towards turn 1. Had this been 30 racing minutes rather than 10 minutes behind the safety car, it might have padded out differently for Sultanov. Had he got past Mole differently, it could have been a different story as well, had he got past earlier. But as it turns out, he's got this one last lap in which to try and close onto the tail of the Honda. I don't think it's going to happen. He will get closer, but he won't latch right onto the back of the Danish driver, I don't think, which will mean it's going to be 2 out of 2 for Jens Müller this weekend. Down they come into the Variante Ascari once more. There is number 23, Murad Sultanov, chasing. He's taken half a second out in the first sector alone, but it's not enough. Into the Lesmos they come now, swing their way towards the Variante Ascari, and you see the way now that Sultanov, having got himself ahead, is pulling away. through the spray. Sultanov storming away from the Mercedes. There is the leading Honda. So is it going to be a gap down significantly? Not enough anyway, is it? It's a personal best by Muller in sector 2, and he's actually pulled away slightly from Murad Sultanov. Maybe Murad has realised, I'm not going to get there, I'll just settle for second place and think about what might have been. But it's been a very lively race, helped by the conditions. You saw how the Mercedes became strong, and then the Sultanov's Ferrari, which took longer to get through the traffic up with him, then became very much the quickest car on the road. Down they turn once again through the parabolica. Number 11, there it is, the Honda. Jens Muller at the wheel, set for a race win. Muller comes up towards the line. Checkered flag at the ready, and it's a second win of the weekend for Jens Muller in the Blancpain GT Sports Club. Murad Sultanov will take second place, and Lee Mole comes across the line there for third. Honda from Ferrari from Mercedes, and then up into fourth. We didn't see this happening, but Coach McKenzie, there was so much going on for the lead, but Coach McKenzie finishing fourth in the Lamborghini ahead of Mauro Cordoni after his spin at the parabolica. Pavel Strukov will be on target for sixth place after his spin at the first chicane. But what a weekend for the Renault racing squad. Jens Reno Muller, to give him his full name, is his team that runs this NSX GT3 Evo Honda, and 2 out of 2 made history yesterday with the first win. History made again with a double win, and the first Honda victories within Blancpain GT Sports Club. I'm trying to think whether we've had a Danish race winner in Sports Club as well in the past. No name instantly comes to mind, so an awful lot of firsts here for Jens Muller. So 3.6 seconds the winning margin. Jens Muller, Murad Sultanov and Lee Mole the top three. Fourth going to Coach McKenzie from Mauro Cordoni, and sixth to Pavel Strukov. So an excellent debut for the Honda within Blancpain GT Sports Club. Further proof of how this championship has evolved. It was initially for the amateur drivers and also in older machinery, but things have moved on a little bit since then, and you've now got the very latest cars. There's almost an argument to say that you should have an older class for the old Z4s and the old Mercedes, for example, to tempt a few more cars back out, but at the moment it's the modern technology that rules the roost. The drivers make their way round to the pit lane into Parc Fermé. Jens Muller will be delighted, I'm sure, with his debut in Blancpain GT Sports Club. 2 out of 2. Murad Sultanov thinking, if only, if only, if only. Let's confirm the way they came across the line then. Jens Muller, the race winner, from Murad Sultanov in second place, and Lee Mole for Coach McKenzie, fourth ahead of Mauro Cordoni. Pavel Strukov in sixth ahead of Vadim Kogai. Then Steve Earle in eighth place. Ninth, Gerard van der Horst and Rick Lovett rounding out the top 10, with Lee Mole and Steve Earle being the Titanium and Iron Cup winners, respectively, for whether you're over 50 or over 60. So Jens Muller is a delighted race winner. 3.6 seconds was the margin in the end. Another lap, certainly 2, and it could have been a win for Murad Sultanov, but in the end, Muller, Sultanov, Mole, the top 3. Next stop will be Paul Ricard for the Blancpain GT Sports Club, where hopefully the weather conditions will be somewhat different, somewhat more pleasant than they have been here today. So Jens Muller's Honda coming down the pit road as the SRO MONZA plays host to a real festival of GT this weekend, because we have Sports Club, we've got GT4 cars coming up very shortly, and of course the main Blancpain GT series is here as well this weekend. So GT fans being treated to some great racing, and that a very lively Sports Club race. Yesterday's was a little bit more subdued in comparison, because in the dry everybody ran at a purely dry pace, but there with setup, with driver bravery as well to factor in, and how well some cars are suited to the wet conditions, a very different story, other than for the race win. 2 from 2 for Jens Muller. Pretty cramped Parc Fermé, so he's got to wriggle his way free of the car. Very happy indeed is Jens Muller. And is this going to now perhaps show more cars from Honda coming into GT3, into Sports Club potentially as well, as people start to see the potential, the success, take the opportunity maybe to look more seriously at a different brand. There is Lee Mole of the Mercedes. talking about the track conditions and the difficulties in some of the standing water that's still there. And Murat Sultanov, very, very good drive indeed there to get second place. So Jens Müller scores a race victory, and Honda prevails over the Ferrari and the Mercedes opposition. Some of the fans finding shelter. There's not much of it, but there is some opposite the pits as the GT4 crews getting themselves ready. So Jens Müller has indeed done it again. A second win of the weekend, and our reporter Dakota Jane is there to have a word.
Very nice to see you here again on victory lane, and your car standing in first. 2 out of 2, absolute domination over these guys. How you must be feeling?
Yeah, I'm really happy. It's the first time in the rain in the NSX, but the car was great. It was very difficult to get temperature and pressure in the tires because it's very, very cold, but okay, it looks easy, but it's not so easy actually. No, great race. Thank you to Honda and Yas.
You're definitely the one to watch out for. Congratulations.
So well done, Jens Müller. He makes his way back to the team and to discuss how the race has gone and bring back the data from, as he says, that first wet race for the NSX. So lessons learned, but job well done, absolutely right. So the drivers now will make their way up towards the podium, both the overall and the class-winning drivers, that is. Steve Earle there in the background, the American driver, class winner. Let's have a look at the highlights. It was a race, inevitably, given the conditions, that had to start behind the safety car. And when we did go racing proper, straight into the lead went Jens Müller in the Honda. There was this little battle then between the Ferraris until Pavel Strukov had this spin down at turn 1. That dropped him down the order. He fought back, but this became the real battle. Lee Moll was catching the race leader and then was caught in turn by Murat Sultanov. And what that meant was that they had a great battle. Sultanov eventually found a way through, but really it was too late because by then there was nothing he could do to get onto terms with the race leader, as Jens Müller came through to score win number 2 of the weekend. A great job done by Jens Müller in the Honda.